Keith Mackey is an aviation expert. He joins me now live to provide more insight into what could possibly have happened to that plane. Many thanks for joining us, Keith. Let's start with the debris. Greek officials say that this debris has been found. It could possibly be from the plane. So we've then had conflicting reports from Egypt saying it's not from the plane. How quickly how long is it going to take to know for a fact whether it's from the plane or not?
Well, here's the situation. In the Eastern Mediterranean, there's a lot of sea traffic, and there's a lot of debris and garbage and things just floating in the water naturally. So it's not difficult to find pieces floating around. Now, that yellow piece that you're showing there is certainly not necessarily from an airplane, but it could be from a piece of emergency gear. But it's not positive to be able to identify it. What we're going to have to do is find pieces. The people who find them on board these merchant ships are not going to positively be able to identify them. But if they photograph them and get the information to people who are familiar with what they were looking for, that'll be a big help. Now, time is critical. We'll want to know if the aircraft broke up at a high altitude. If that was the case, we'd expect to find that debris scattered over a wide area, or if it landed relatively intact, which would mean there'd be big pieces and they'd be more centrally located than being spread over a wide area. So that'll be important. The authorities will be looking for the location of what we call the black boxes, which is the cockpit voice recorder, so we can hear the conversations that took place over the radio between the crew members and in the cockpit, and the flight data recorder, which will give us a great deal of information of exactly what was taking place during the event. And they'll probably be at the bottom or attached to perhaps some floating pieces. We'll just have to see what happens.
Keith, going back
as time goes on.
Sorry to interrupt you, Keith, but going back to the last few moments of the plane, we heard earlier from the Greek defense minister that the plane essentially made two sudden swerves. It dropped altitude and then made that 90 degrees turn. What does that tell you about what could have caused that to happen?
Well, to answer that question, I'll have to speculate a little bit. I can give you an example of what could have happened. The information I have is that the aircraft turned 90 degrees to the left and then made a 360 or a complete turn to the right. Now, that certainly isn't a normal thing, but the authorities knew that it completed these maneuvers when it was at 15,000 feet, which means it had been descending from 37 or 38,000 feet. Now, the only way they could have known that it completed these at 15,000 feet was because the aircraft transponder was sending a data stream out. In order for it to do this, it would have to have had electrical power. So either they've made a mistake and they really don't know what altitude it was at when it disappeared, or we have evidence that the aircraft had electrical power. Now, to speculate a little further, we have the case of the Russian airplane that departed Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, last fall, and the tail contained a soda can which had a bomb in it. Now, if that happened, if the tail had a bomb close to the flight controls, and we disrupted the hydraulics or whatever that control the rudder and the elevator, then the pilots would have lost control, and something like this could have happened. So that's just one possibility. We'll really not know until we really find the wreckage and black boxes and are able to do more thorough study of what may have actually taken place.
Indeed. Okay, Keith Mackey, many thanks for your time today. Keith, an aviation expert, joining me there. Many thanks.